Hello and welcome to episode 38 of the Knitting Pickle Podcast. My name is Laura Penrose. I'm a knitwear designer and content creator, and I'm here with a traditional format podcast for you. It's only been 2 weeks. 2 weeks since the last one. Who am I? I'm on fire. And that is because it is autumn. And with autumn comes endorphins and happiness and motivation and all the mojo. So I've got a lot to share with you, even though it's only been 2 weeks. I have got a brand new design. I have got a new cast on. I've got some up and coming plans, and I've also got some lovely yarn to share with you for the To Me From Me Makealong, which I launched 2 weeks ago. Yeah, just after the last podcast. And I have since been to Unravel Festival and I picked up some absolutely stunning prizes. It was so nice going yarn shopping, knowing that it wasn't just going to be, adding to my stash. And don't get me wrong, I got a few little bits for myself, but only bits that were very intentional, no random things that I knew that I needed and wanted, and I made some very considered choices, but I'll go into that more later on at the end. But yeah, cozy on down. It's very, very autumnal here in the UK. Well, we're going through a weird week where in the morning it's all cold and misty and windy and chilly, but then by the afternoon it's like 20 degrees. So it's like autumn clothes in the morning, back in the linen trousers and t-shirts in the afternoon. But if you can hear some like slopping and like gurgling, it's because I've got a hot water bottle, but I'll show you that in a little while. My son is home with me today because he isn't very well and he's having the day off school. He's just got a cough, but it's one of those coughs that it's like not fair for him to be around the other kids, even though they make each other all poorly anyway. But he had a rough night's sleep and I could not get him to wake up this morning. Like, he's usually the first up before everybody else. But no, he didn't wake up until about 10:30. So he's here, so we might get interrupted, but I'll do my best to edit out any interruptions. So let's crack on. Before we do, I need to change my battery because I am clearly not a professional. Professional enough to have a spare one ready to go though. So here we are, back in the room. I should probably start with finished objects, as is traditional. I'm not wearing knitwear today, one because it's a little bit too warm to sit here fully walled up, she says with a hot water bottle on her lap. But it's only here because I've got a sore back and I was using it earlier to relieve that. But I do have 2 garment whips which I'm gonna like show you on me. So instead of faffing about taking jumpers off, we're in my favourite autumnal top. Every time I wear this, I get asked where it's from. It's about 3 years old. You can no longer get it. I got it from Sainsbury's in the UK, which is a supermarket. I bought it like 3 sizes too big, so it's super loose, and it's one of those that like I try and take good care of all my clothes, but this one in particular, like it's I want to have this in my wardrobe forever. I just love it so much. And every time I wear it, I'm like, I need to recreate this. I need to make this in knitwear. Every time I put it on, it makes me think of the Farnham sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. It's got a very similar vibe here. So I would love to make myself a Farnham sweater one day. And I would definitely do it in these colours. But that's future plans because we are fully booked for 2024 and going into 2025. So let's start with finished objects. Just briefly, last week I showed you that I was working on a mini version of my Maxine hot water bottle cover, which is already available. The update hasn't happened yet because we are still at the end of the preview knit. For the first time I did a preview over on Patreon and it's gone so well. It was really fun. I just made a form and I was like, if anyone wants to preview this, just pop your name down and I'll send the pattern out. And within 12 hours, there was a finished one, which just absolutely blew my mind. It's a very quick project. It's very teeny. Can literally be done in about 6 hours if you are proficient at colour work. But yeah, it's gone so well. Everything is good to go. I'm just giving my preview knitters time to get to the end of their stated amount of time, because if if anybody finishes one, then they'll get a code for another free pattern from me and everything. So last time I showed you this, which was about halfway done. This is a 3-colour version of the mini Maxine hot water bottle cover. I haven't got the original one here to show you. I'll pop a picture in. And so yeah, the update for this will be ready, I think, in about a week's time, because I'm going to release the update alongside another pattern that's going to be released. But I just wanted to show you the finished one because it turned out so beautifully. I've been really inspired by all the colour ideas from the preview knitters, and I'll put a little carousel of all the different ones in there. It's just always blows my mind how different people can interpret a pattern and think of colour combinations that would never have crossed my mind, that I absolutely love. We've had some super autumnal ones, we've had like black backgrounds and neon colour work and just so many different interpretations. There was one where somebody changed the background colour in this section, and that one minor change just has made such a difference, and it's just so lovely and inspiring. And I cannot wait because I've got like four more of these bad boys to make for teacher presents this year, so I'm not short on inspiration. But yeah, that's the mini Maxine hot water bottle, due to be updated by the end of September. It will be in the last few days of September alongside another pattern release, which I'm about to show you. That's right, since I last podcasted, so 2 weeks ago, I have started, knit up, written, edited and test knit a new design. All in 2 weeks. It's very little though. Yes, it's another hot water bottle cover. If you follow me over on Instagram, hopefully you would have seen this by now, but I know not everybody does. But literally, I think the day after I filmed that podcast, I was suddenly inspired by a new hot water bottle idea. I was feeling super autumnal. I just had a pumpkin spice latte and I just was like, I've got this idea and I need to see if it's gonna work. So I just quickly drew up a quick chart and was like, okay. So may I formally introduce to you the pumpkin spice hot water bottle cover? Here's the big version. So obviously it's based on pumpkins and coffee or tea or hot chocolate or whatever you think, and it's got some nice little borders and natural motifs. And with this one, in a different way to the Maxine hot water bottle cover, I've introduced texture within the colour work. So if you can see, it's kind of hard to tell because I've used a variegated yarn for the pumpkin. This is by River Knits. There's actually a rib texture in the pumpkins. It's kind of matted down a little bit now that I've used this a couple of times. When I first did it, it was quite a bit more prominent, but you can see it in real life, not so much on camera. But yeah, I did a rib texture to kind of represent those sections of the pumpkins. I did also catch my floats in the middle of the pumpkin, which was a bad idea. I don't recommend doing that in the pattern. It's absolutely fine to not catch floats even with this big gap of colour work, because it's hot water bottle. All the floats felt together as long as you're using a non-superwash yarn anyway, so I wouldn't even bother catching floats here on the pumpkin because you can kind of see them through the purl stitches. But I also did the same in the coffee cups, and this has turned out really, really lovely. Again, it was a little bit poofy when I first did it, but it has felted down to this really just lovely kind of texture, just something a little bit different in there to just make those coffee cups really stand out. And you don't have to do the rib texture if you don't want to. You could use embroidery on your pumpkins. Loads of my testers have been having fun with duplicate stitch, and we've had someone put pumpkins on the coffee cups and someone has put hearts on the pumpkins, and honestly I've managed to find myself such a creative bunch over there, and there are so many lovely versions to show you. And along with the full size, of course, I also did a mini. This is the little version. These little pumpkins are so cute. And what I like about these little pumpkins is if you did it in a bright red or if you did it in a green, then they could be apples. I'd probably do it just plain stitches and maybe put a little white highlight to make it look like a shiny apple. Although it might read tomato, kind of depends on what colours you use. But yes, you've got the full size and the mini size all included in one pattern. And as I said, it's been in test for a little while, and that test is due to finish this weekend, this Saturday. So I'm hoping to release this as soon as possible, really. I have sent the final edit off to my editor. I'm just waiting for confirmation from my testers for yardages and everything like that, and get their feedback just to make sure we've not missed anything. But it's been such a fun project. It was one of those, it just came from pure hyper focus, pure adrenaline, and I've said this before, I know, but I think a lot of my best work comes from those moments of hyper focus and intense inspiration and just casting on all the things. So I'm really glad I went forward with this one and got it through the process nice and quick. So it's ready for people to make their own autumnal hot water bottle covers. But it does not end there. I very much got carried away with this one. So within this pattern, not only do you get the full chart for these guys as you see them right here, but you will also get additional motifs for you to create your own autumnal hot water bottle. And I have kind of a sample here. It's just an example of the many things that you could do. It doesn't have a hot water bottle in it right now because I'm going to show you how I do that, because that's a lot of questions I get about the hot water bottle covers, is how do you get the hot water bottle through this tiny little hole? But here you go. This is the design your own version of the pumpkin spice hot water bottle cover, and this is just an example of the different motifs that come in the pattern. So we have a leaf, we have a mushroom, we have a big and a small mushroom, you've got big and small acorns, that's the smaller leaf, that's the bigger leaf, and the sunflower, which I'm so proud of. I thought this is either going to look really rubbish or perfect. Fortunately, it turned out perfect. This is only available in the big size. So both sizes, the regular and the mini, come with their own autumnal motifs. But the sunflower, I could only make that work for the big one. There's also alternative borders and little things like that. And the idea is you create your own, you mix and match, you pick out your favorite motifs and put them all together. It's also really encouraged to come up with your own designs and your own motifs, and quite a few of my testers have done that. Someone's done a different type of mushroom, and there's been someone did like a maple leaf, and they're just absolutely fantastic, and I'm so pleased with them. In the pattern I do give details on how to recreate this exact version as well. It's not fully charted because everything is an individual little chart, but I let you know which ones I used and where I started, because in order to prevent it looking like stacked, because obviously each motif is in the center of its box, to avoid it looking stacked, and sometimes I started the motif like halfway through, and all those details are in the pattern if you wanted to recreate this exact one. But the whole point is to inspire you to have fun, to try colour work for the first time. This one does have one round of 3 colour. Everything is 2 colour apart from one round, just the little bit there of the pumpkin, but you could totally do that with duplicate stitch if you didn't want to do the 3 colours. Some of these motifs are heavier on the 3 colour. The sunflower in particular has 3 colours, and the leaves have 3 colours, but again you could change that to 2 colours if you want, and then go in and duplicate stitch. Like for example, on this row you've got 2 of this colour, quite a few of this colour, and then just 1 white one in between. So you could just continue this colour all the way through and then duplicate stitch that white stitch there if you're not confident with the 3 colour. But I've had quite a few testers and preview knitters for the Mini Maxine actually it be their first colour work project. Now I wouldn't say it's beginner friendly. I don't write my patterns to be particularly beginner friendly because they end up being very big, very convoluted, and it just doesn't bring me joy to write in that way. I much prefer writing in a more succinct intermediate level type, and I'll always make that very clear on my pattern pages before you buy if it's beginner friendly or not. So I wouldn't say this is beginner friendly, but I would say if you wanted to have a go at colour work for the first time, then the mini versions are so perfect for that. It's not tiny circumference like a sock or a mitten, but it's also not massive like a garment. It also doesn't matter too much about any tension indiscrepancies. You want to be around the right size because you don't want your cover to be too big or too small. But if you start off a bit tighter and get a bit looser, it doesn't really matter overall, because once you wet it and block it, it blocks to the size of your hot water bottle anyway, and all those discrepancies kind of even out, and it doesn't matter so much because it's not like it's a garment or a sock where the fit needs to be perfect because it's on a body. It's just a rectangle basically. So it's a great place to start your colour work journey if you wanted to. The thing I like most about this one though is there's texture in there as well. I did pearl stitches for the centre of the sunflower to give it that kind of sunflower vibe, and I also went in afterwards and added little French knots onto my mushrooms. There is a white stitch under there, so you don't have to do that if you don't want to, and I'm showing you this side because this is the first side and it was terrible. Sorry, that's blowing out a little bit. I'm not an embroiderer. I'm not the best. I know how to do a French knot because my mum taught me how to cross stitch, but it took a couple of goes. But by the time I got around to this side, I think I did a pretty good job. And there's a link to a French knot tutorial in the pattern as well. But the whole idea is just to have fun and be creative. And I hopefully will have put in some of my tester samples because they really did do such an amazing job. One tester did a grey background and did only mushrooms and like staggered them, and it was so effective and so fun and lovely. There's quite a lot of talk in the chat about I think I'm gonna do a Minecraft one for my son because he absolutely loves Minecraft and he absolutely loves hot water bottles. This one has become his. He's been pinching this one quite a lot, and though I would never say give a bottle of boiling hot water to a child ever, obviously that's at your own discrepancy. I would never recommend giving a hot water bottle to a child to sleep with. You shouldn't be using boiling hot water in your hot water bottle anyway because it degrades the rubber and the life of your hot water bottle will not be as long. It should always be boil your kettle and then leave it to cool down a little bit and then pop it in. And the thing is with the mini ones is they don't retain the heat as long as the big ones. Like I could go to sleep with a big one and it's still warm in the morning. But these ones don't stay as hot for as long. So I'll tend to make one, give it a little while and then let my son have it. And he absolutely loves getting cozy with these on the sofas. We got caught in the rain the other day on the way home from school and he was like, when we get home, can we get under your big knitted blanket? So proud. And have a hot water bottle. And that's exactly what we did. He is the boy of cozy. I have passed on the maximum cozy gene for sure. So they're great little ones for keeping your kids warm on the sofa, not in bed, never in bed. But they're also perfect for gifts because they're miniature. So yeah, I think I might do a Minecraft one for him. Either like, you know, you might not know this, but there's like the dirt block where the bottom is brown and the top is green. I might just do that, or I might do like a traditional motif with all the little different things because Minecraft is basically pixel art, right? So let's stop talking about Minecraft hot water bottle covers. Anyway, how do you get your hot water bottle in? A question I get a lot. It's really, really simple. You just take your empty hot water bottle and fold it. I do it like this, so it turns into a nice little tube, and then it just goes in. I will do it here. There we go. And you just kind of, you know, pop it in there. And in theory, you shouldn't really have to change your hot water bottle cover, not until your hot water bottle has ended its life. That sounded morbid, but I obviously have quite a few now and we have some seasonal ones, so I'll be enjoying my autumn ones and then we'll switch over to the Maxine again when autumn is over. But this one, I think I'm going to give this one to my mum because I've got so many hot water bottle covers now. I don't need another one, so I'll probably give this one to my mum. She has a very Christmassy Maxine hot water bottle cover I made for her last year, so I think she might like this one for now. Other thing with your hot water bottles, just as a reminder, all of them should have this on it, this circle with a number in the middle, and this number is 23, and that means it was made in 2023. It's the year that it was made. And I think most hot water bottles will come on the package telling you how long it is good for. I'm not sure, it doesn't actually say on the hot water bottle, but it's usually like 2 to 3 years, I think. They can last longer if you take care of them, if you use them properly. But yeah, always a good idea to check, because if you check your hot water bottle and it's like 1998, it's not safe to use. that rubber will have degraded. Time to get a new hot water bottle cover. If you are in the UK and you want a mini sized one, this is a 500 milliliter bottle. You can get them from No Frills Knitting. You can also get them online, but obviously support your local yarn store if you can. If you are in the US, I found a few people are struggling to find them, but you can get them. And I think in the US there are quite often like British shops and shops that import things from Britain, and I think you can always go in and request things maybe, or your local yarn shop potentially would be interested in importing some hot water bottles for if people who want to make covers. I know they are getting quite popular now. I'm seeing lots of different water bottle covers pop up, and I'm all here for it. I think they're so underrated and so much cheaper than sticking the heating on. Heat the person, not the space. Save yourself some cash. Make a hot water bottle cover. Right, let's move on, because I feel like I've said the word hot water bottle about 1,000,000 times already. And we are now on to whips. Since I last spoke to you, I have cast on a new whip. I also have a whip that's been on the news for a little while, but I didn't show you in the last episode because I hadn't touched it. But I have made some progress, so let's show you that one first. And it is my Zipper Sweater Light by PetiteKnit. I think last time I showed it, I was still on the collar. It's a long old collar and it's ribbing, and it took a while, but I was just working on it kind of as and when, like in the car here and there, and then before I knew it, it was done. Yay! And I've been slowly working on the raglan. I am still working flat at the moment, so we've got some long purl rows, and I personally don't enjoy working raglans that much, only because I'm not the biggest fan of increasing. Like, I find it slows me down. I like to decrease, but I'm not the biggest fan of increasing, especially when it's like every single round. Like in a circular yoke, it's like, okay, we get the increase round done, and then we've got lots of lovely knitting until the next one. With a raglan, it's like we're increasing on one side and we're purling on the other side. So it's not my most enjoyable part of a raglan, but I am very, very much excited for the final finished object of this. I think once I get past the raglan, it will become more of a process knit. It's going to be that lovely, relaxing stockinette in the round, and it's so the yarn is so soft and enjoyable to work with. It is Methera by Northern Yarns, and I'm holding it with a strand of Cirro, I think, from the Fibre company. So it's a fingering and it's more of a sport weight held double. And one of the things I've got going on in this project, which I should probably mention, is that my gauge is a little bit, my gauge is bang on, but my fabric is a little bit tight. It's on 4mm needles, and I think this particular yarn combination, because the fluffy strand is more of a sport weight than a fingering, it's definitely not a lace weight, put them together and it's just that little bit thicker than DK. I think this yarn combination would be more suited for maybe a 4.5. It's more of a worsted. However, so because the fabric is quite tight, I am finding it, I can feel it in my hands. So I'm not doing big long stints on this one, and I can feel it more on the purl rows because obviously my hands aren't as used to that. On the knit rows, it's not too bad. But I decided to stick with it because this is going to be, I'm going to see this more of like outerwear, like a day like today where I don't really need a coat, but it's windy and this wouldn't be enough, but a coat would be too much. This would be perfect. So that slightly tighter fabric I think is going to be actually really good for this, and it will relax a bit with blocking as well. So shall we kind of try it on? I have got it on a little thingamabob here. It's going to be difficult to show you, but you get the idea. This is the first fully grey, like full-size garment I think I've ever made myself. I was always a little bit scared of grey. I think I didn't feel like it suited me as much. I think I saw it as quite a pyjama colour. I think probably because most of my pyjamas are grey. But I am now moving away from that, and I'm realising that I just think this particular like light coloured silvery cool toned grey that isn't blue really suits me. I think it suits my colouring. Now that I've had all the blonde chopped out of my hair pretty much. You can still see how it's lighter here, but now my hair is kind of getting back to its more natural colour. I think the brown hair next to the grey is also lovely. I think it's like a really nice contrast, and yeah, I'm basically very much drawn to grey, and you'll see a little bit more grey later on. But yeah, I'm not quite there at like the full zip length yet, so I've still got quite a way to go. But again, this has just been pick up, put down. It's not been it's not like my main whip, it's just something fun for me when I've had a full day of like sample knitting or work knitting. It's just nice to work on something that's just a little bit of fun, and it's nice to have something without a deadline. I would love this to be ready as soon as possible, because I feel like I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. I really am, but also, you know, I'm enjoying the slow process of it. So I think once I join in the round and split for sleeves, I'll probably go back and add the zipper in, because it is a little bit scary. I've read through the pattern of what you're supposed to do, and it's all things I'm sure I'm capable of doing, but still, yeah, a little bit scary. Fortunately, my friend Lizzie has made like 3 of these, so if I have any trouble, I'm sure she'll help me with the zipper insertion. But yay, I'm so excited. I love it. So that is one of my whips, and this is for me part of my To Me From Me mal. I don't know if I'll get this finished during the mal. Hopefully I will, but it depends. I've got quite a lot of sweater knitting to do at the moment. But this was just something that was a little whip that I thought I would add into my mal making and encourage myself to prioritise me and knitting for myself and what I want to do, what makes me happy. And that's just one of those things. My second whip is my kind of main entry into the To Me From Me mal. And I will go into more details about the mal later on if you've not seen the previous episode. But it's basically a make along, so you can knit, you can crochet, you can sew, you can do whatever you like. All the prizes are yarn based, but I know a lot of sewers also knit and crochet and all that kind of thing. I didn't want to disclude sewing because it's kind of part of the garment, well, it is part of the garment world, isn't it? And yeah, I just wanted everyone to get involved if they wanted to. But this is my main whip, and I shared the yarn last time, my intentions for it, and I've cast on, and I've actually made quite a lot of progress on this one. I've been really enjoying it. I've been doing a lot of colour work recently, and when I've been working on a sample all day long and I get to the evening and I just want to like switch my brain off and relax, this has just been so perfect. Even though it is my own design, it's a design I've already released. So I'm not, well, I am kind of working whilst working on this, because I'm going to update this design with this new kind of collar option. But it's super chill. It's a very small change and it's quite simple. It's not going to be a lot of work to update the pattern, and I'm now at the point where there's no difference. Like I've got to the bit where the change stops, so I'm just following the pattern now. I'm not even thinking about updates, and I'm just keeping an eye out for anything that I might want to tweak or change. Now my writing style has changed. I definitely want to change the formatting a little bit to make it a little bit easier to digest, and I have found the odd typo. No typos, but I think there's a couple of formatting errors in there that need updating. But I have been making myself a souffle. Yay! This is my first ever garment design, but it was my first kind of step into the world of knitwear design, because it actually, you know, made a significant amount of money, enough for me to think, well, actually this could be a thing here. If I can repeat this, then we've got a job, kind of thing, hopefully, which fortunately did happen. But it was quite a while ago. I think it was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, is it 2021? I think I released it. So yeah, my writing style, even though like I look back at the pattern, I was pleasantly surprised. I was a little bit nervous, but actually it's still at a standard that I would be happy, and am happy to have out there live for people to buy today. I'm still using the same editor I used back then, so I know the quality of it is top notch. I just make decisions differently now, I think, now that I've got quite a few. I've got 20 designs under my belt now, and yeah, so let's pop it over my head. The original souffle is made with 2 strands of lace weight yarn, held together for almost all of it Whereas this time I'm going for a single strand of a fluffy sport weight yarn. It's the Rowan Alpaca Classic, and it's super fine alpaca and cotton, and it's recommended 3.75mm needles, and it's 23 stitches per, oh, the sun's come out. It's 23 stitches per 10 centimetres. The souffle is knit on 4mm needles, and it's meant to be like a slightly looser gauge anyway, but I just wanted a single strand, and I shall tell you for why. And I just thought this was lovely. It's like a blown yarn, but it's not big and thick and chunky, but you still get like the softness and the lightness of it, and I'm really happy with my choice. I really, really, really like it. So let me just make sure I've got this the right way round, because there are short rows in it. Let's just check. Yep, we are all good. So the original souffle has a I-cord edging and like a keyhole at the back with a button. So you open the button to get it on and off, although you don't really need to. And this top section here is single strand. So it's slightly sheer, slightly see-through just here on the décolletage. And then when you get to this midpoint here, it then becomes double stranded. So it's not see-through down over the important bits. It's more solid. I'm saying a lot, aren't I? And you can see that I have added my ruffle placement round, which is right here. It's just a row of pearls, which you will then pick up and add the souffle ruffle, which I originally put on the design to kind of like make a point of the transition from sheer to not sheer, but ended up being like the main kind of focal point and what makes the souffle really. There is a summer souffle, which is like a cotton blend, and it's got like it's much more fitted, and it's got ribbed points, and it's got short rows and everything. And then there's a chunky souffle, which is the super chunky version. Oh, I've got fluff in my eyes. But with this one, I wanted to have that light floaty airiness of the souffle, but casual it down a little bit. It's quite formal a design. It's quite like a fancy pants design really. I don't lean towards it to wear it every day, and I wanted something a little bit more everyday. So I decided to go with the single strand to lose the see-throughness, and I've gone for a folded collar. Now I do apologise, red is really difficult to photograph. It blows out really easily, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about here. I've gone with a folded over stockinette collar, which is what we start with, and I just knit it down again. I may or may not put some elastic in there just to see how it sits, but I haven't yet blocked it. There are short rows in the back of this to obviously make it sit nicely, but it's quite an open neckline. It's not tight to the neck, it's not thick, it's open, it's loose, it's relaxed. And obviously it looks like we are very bunchy here. However, part of the souffle design is that it's got these beautiful, poofy, floaty sleeves that in the original it's t-shirt length. It's like a little t-shirt, but there is also long sleeves. I've never made a long sleeve version, and this is going to be a long sleeve version. Another reason why I chose this design, because I've always wanted one, but I've just never prioritised that desire over my other designs. So it looks all bunchy, but that's because once you split for sleeves, this bit will be all fitted here, and then all the extra is in the sleeves. There are increases that are only in the sleeve area to give it that poof without it being too big along here. So I haven't added my ruffle yet. I'm going to wait until I run out of this ball. I think I'm quite close to the end of it, and then I will add my ruffle, because it's the exciting bit. It also takes quite a while. But if you use a crochet hook to bind off, it's much quicker. So yeah, I'm so pleased. I'm really pleased with the colour. I wanted like a bright Christmassy red, and it is coming across quite a bit brighter on camera, but in real life it is a little bit darker. It's less like poppy red, and it's more kind of ruby red, I'd say. But lovely for the festive times. I can really festive it up with like my sparkly sequin trousers or something, or I could autumn it down by wearing it with my little black mini skirt and tights. tights and boots and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying this and having so much fun. I find it really hard to put it down. I'm just really excited to split for sleeves now. But oh, it is making me warm. It is definitely warm. But there you go. Those are my main whips and a little cheeky finished object / design for you. I'm gonna take a little drink from my sippy cup. So now I'm going to move on to my plans, what's coming up next, and I will share with you the mail prizes, and then we'll go through my Instagram faves. I'm really enjoying that section. I really like it. Last time I forgot to screen record my phone, so I'll remember to do that this time. But yeah, so we're basically going into kind of plans and acquisitions now, which is so exciting. I've got so much beautiful yarn to show you. And some of it could be yours if you join the mail. But let's start with my plans, because I've made a big decision and I'm really excited about my big decision, and I want to share it with you because I know a lot of you are looking forward to this design. And oh no, there we go. So we've got that, we've got that, and we've got that. So the next design that's going to be going onto my needles, yeah, I think so. It's not going to be my net. Let me think. So first of all, I've only got 4 minutes left on my memory card. I'm going to have to delete some footage. So, last year I was given some yarn by John Arbon to make a sweater design. I did the sweater design, but then had a slight mental breakdown and had to take a little break from the old designing. And since then they have been super patient and super kind, but I am now ready to go to the next level with this one. So I have already made the first sample. Here we are. It does have a name, but I haven't formally announced it yet, but for now it's the John Arbon sweater. I think I'll announce the name once I've got the pattern off to edit and I know that it's a real thing. But it's this really simple, relaxed drop shoulder sweater with this beautiful cable texture on the front, and it's also got a little bit of smocking here, but it's not on the back. It's just plain stockinette on the back. So for a cabled sweater, it's so chill. You're only actually cabling for 25% of it, which is amazing. I enjoyed knitting this up so much. It was such a pleasure. The yarn is beautiful. It's got a like a mock neck, which is a neck that I would normally do in a design, but it just felt so right for this design. It's kind of boxy. It's not hugely oversized, but it's also not fitted. And the yarn is Apple Door DK, and you can see it's almost like this beautiful kind of muted rainbow. There's yellows, blues and pinks and whites, and it's all the different coloured fibres and then spun together to create this one cohesive colourway. And it's just so gorgeous. I wear it a lot. I reach for it when it's particularly cold because it's so warm. It's definitely rustic, it's definitely woolly, but it's beautiful and I highly recommend. So last year I was at the John Arbon Mill Open weekend. I showed them the sample and it was all lovely, and I was like, I would like to make another sample in another colour because I would like to make it a size up for myself, and I would also like to do a folded collar. I also didn't make thorough enough notes. I made the chart for it, but I didn't really write down the process. So in order to write the pattern, I need to make another one really, because yeah, I kind of can't really remember what I did, but I made the decisions once and I'll probably make the decisions again. And whilst I was there, I bought some more Apple Door DK in this colourway, which is called Golden Knob. And it's chartreuse and bright and green and gorgeous. I absolutely love it. However, it's just not been connecting in my mind when it comes to this design. I think it would look fantastic. I think it would work really well. But I just don't see myself wearing this colour in this design. And I think that's what has really been holding me back, getting this onto the next stage. I think this would be fabulous for a cardigan, where it's like an open V-neck cardigan where I can wear the colour, but it's not all up in my face, it's not all up in my neck. Potentially for a Midland cardigan, perhaps, which will be next on the list. I think this would be great for a Midland cardigan. But I realised that this was not the colour for me, it's not the colour for this design. So I had a little look on the John Arbon website, and can you guess what colour I found? I'll show it you after I've made some space on the memory card. Okay, we're back in the room. So I ordered more Appledore DK because that is the hero of this design. Appledore DK, by the way, is a blend of 40% Devon close wool, 40% Romney and 20% Exmoor Blueface. So all beautiful British wool, and all the colourways are named after varieties of apples. So Golden Knob, my sample is in Quench, and this is Hoary Morning, and it's the most beautiful, come on camera, it's the most beautiful grey, just as the sun comes out. I'm hoping you can see this, but it has these beautiful moments of warmth in it, and I think that's why I like it so much. It's like they're little moments of almost like pinky, orangey, browny, just really, really unexpected. But I know, like the other Appledores, it just gives it that depth and that interest, but without it being over the top. I'm so sorry about the light right now. I'm sure the sun's going to go behind a cloud in a minute. Oh, but yeah, it's igniting the fire in me. I think it's going to be perfect for this design. The design is kind of retro. It's kind of preppy. It's kind of like golf course. It's kind of got this sporty, preppy vibe. I often feel like I'm, the Rosie, is it Rosie the Riveter? The Dig for Victory kind of like grow your own land girl vibes when I wear it, but a lot of people have also told me it gives preppy, it gives golf, and I think combining that vibe with such a bright colour as well, they're probably going to fight. So I think having something more neutral, more plain, to let those cables sing, but whilst also giving the yarn a moment to sing, which is the intention with this. When I first got this yarn, I tried so many different things with it, and I realised texture was good, but it couldn't be overly cabled, overly textured, because you would lose the effect of the yarn. You wanted the yarn to sing, hence why we've got these nice big like stockinette sections, but the cable just gives it a little bit of something, a little bit of fun. So I will be starting this design in the next few weeks, shall we? Should we go there? In the next few weeks, I'll be starting this design, but I do have one other sweater that I need to cast on and complete in the meantime, which I'm going to show you now. And that will be the second sample of my Maxine Sweater. I'm just going to grab it. This is my Maxine Sweater. It is currently in testing, and I go all into detail in the last podcast. So if you haven't watched that and you'd like to know more about this, then please go and watch that episode. But this yarn was sent to me by Emma from Woolly Mammoth Fibres. It's the natural DK and half DK. I think it's a mixture of the two. But the main colour is the natural DK. It's the natural sock, sorry, held double to make DK. I did have some fit issues with this one, which I go into in the previous podcast, which have all now been adjusted and sorted, and it is well into its test. We have one finished one already. It's the size 1, which one of my lovely test knitters made for her little boy, and it's absolutely adorable. And we have quite a few finished yokes and onto the bodies, and so far I'm like, the fit is looking really, really good, and I am so relieved. Oh my goodness. Turns out it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. I made a size too small. But I am going to be making a second sample in 3 colours, and Emma ridiculously generously sent me yarn for a second sample, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to pay for it. So thank you, Emma, for being so unbelievably generous. It's just some of the most beautiful yarn I've ever experienced in my life. In 2022, I think I called it my yarn of the year. Did I do a yarn of the year in 2023? I don't think I did, but this was my yarn of the year for 2022 because I just fell in love with it. It was the half DK that I used in 2022. This one is the hearth sock, which I'm going to be holding double, and they do have a slight different feel to them. The natural sock and the hearth sock, they have different different fibres. So the hearth sock is 50% Jacob, 50% BFL, and the natural sock is 50% Cheviot, 50% BFL. So just the difference is the Jacob and the Cheviot, and it just doesn't give a slightly different vibe. But this is going to be my main colour. This gorgeous, can you tell what my favourite colour is? Actually green, hence the green bedroom. But yeah, this colour, I'm just obsessed. It's not completely flat, it's tonal, it's got lighter moments, darker moments, and I absolutely cannot wait to see it knit up. And for my colour work, I'm going to be doing the 3 colour version, because in the pattern you get the 5 colour version, which is great for your minis and your leftovers and your scraps. But as with the hot water bottle cover, where I did a 3 colour version and a 5 colour version, I've done a 3 colour version of the yoke, and a few of my testers have opted for that, and it just looks wonderful. I find it looks, this gives more traditional, the 3 colour gives more modern, so you can get kind of 2 different looks from the same pattern. So I'm going to be using the white, which is my main colour from that one, and the grey, and I think this is going to be absolutely stunning. I was worried that these 2 wouldn't be high enough contrast, but I think it's going to be absolutely perfect, and I'm really excited to cast this one on. And my plan for this sample is to attempt to knit it in a week, but safely. We're not going to be doing stupid things. We're not going to be risking our hand health. We're not going to be staying up till God knows when in the morning and not getting enough sleep. But I am looking forward to snuggling down and just working on it exclusively until it's done. And I think when I make the time for it and I work on just one thing, I can get a sweater done in a week. But obviously there's life as well. So I've cornered out next week for this. This week has been so busy. I've had so many appointments, so many things. I've now got a child poorly off school. So next week is a lot more quieter, and I'm going to film that process for you. I'm going to go from start to finish, from cast on to cast off, however long it takes. It might take more than a week. I think realistically it probably will, but I'm going to try and get it done in a week, because then I can sign it off. I can knit along with it with my testers, because a few people have only just got around to casting on, so that we can do it all together. And I guess it will be part of my mal, because I'll be keeping it. I need to find someone who is smaller than me to give this to. I think my mum is not as broad as me. I was going to see if my sister wanted it, because it's called the Maxine after my sister, who's called Maxine, but she, like me, has got broad shoulders. It's not that I've got broad shoulders. My shoulders are actually in proportion to my biceps, my hips, but my chest is smaller than the rest of me. So it's my chest that's out of proportion. So when you choose a size based on, when I choose a size based on my chest, unless there's a lot of positive ease, then it's too small basically. And because it's designed to sit nicely and fit, and not, it's got space in the body and the sleeves, but it's meant to sit nicely on the shoulders and on the yoke. It just came up too small, so I am going to knit the size up in the yoke and retain the size in the body, because I would have too much material and too big sleeves, and that is all included in the pattern. There's a broadness modification that you can follow, so you can choose the yoke size up, but then finish on the body size down, so you're not dealing with loads of extra fabric. Great as well if you've got a larger chest than your waist or hips, so you just get that bit more room in the yoke, but you've not got loads of fabric underneath, and you don't have to do waist shaping. So that's what we're going to do next week. I'm very excited. And then once that is done, we will be casting on the sweater. I also feel like by the time I finish that sample, we will have found all the tweaks within the pattern that need to be tweaked, and I can get into the final format and get that sent off. I am working on multiple patterns at once at the moment, which is a relatively new thing for me. Until recently, I've very much been a one pattern at a time person, because mentally I just couldn't cope with all the different numbers at once. But I'm getting much more confident in myself and my ability and my time management, and I'm finding so much joy in my work. I can work on more than one thing at once, I've noticed. I've never done more than one garment at once, so we will see. But yes, that's the plan. That's what is coming up. That's what you'll see in the next episode. So with that in mind, I do have a purchase from Unravel to show you that will be a go towards a design, and I would like to get that design on the go pretty soon. Oh, we've overheated. One of my purchases from Unravel was, I was hoping I would find something that would inspire me for my kite shawl design. If you've been in for a little while, you'll know this is something I started earlier on this year, but then put on hold for the summer. I'm really excited to revisit this idea, the shawl and some matching gloves, and I think it's the matching gloves that's getting me really, really excited about it. And I just needed four 100-gram skeins, different colours, but that all spoke to each other, that made me feel excited, that was something that I would wear. I do have a sample on the go already, but it was with some gifted cashmere, and I wanted something that was less expensive, more accessible, and just kind of gave a different vibe, because that one is like brown and pink and cream, and like it's quite colourful. So when I saw this yarn, I was immediately drawn to it, and I just couldn't resist. I had a lovely chat with the owner of the company, and I just couldn't leave it behind. We when we go to Unravel Festival, we do. By the way, I was invited to Unravel Festival by Unravel and was gifted my ticket. Just to be totally clear, I was going to go anyway. It was my fourth time visiting Unravel. It's probably like one of the biggest UK yarn festivals. There's 2 a year. The one in February is a lot more popular. The one in autumn, the one in September, is way more chill. There aren't as many vendors. It's 2 days, not 3. And I would really, really recommend going to the autumn one if you struggle with sensory overload, with large crowds, with lots of noise. Something I do struggle with, but I'm willing to fight through for Unravel in February, because it is fun. There's so much community, there's so much to see and do, and it's wonderful, but it is intense. The autumn one is so chill. You can take your time talking to vendors. There's lots of space to move around. You can get a seat in the cafe. This year they had a marquee outside, which was fantastic because there's not enough seating in there to sit and have something to eat. But we were able to get a table and chill out, and it was absolutely wonderful. I went to see my friend Sophie do a talk, which was always lovely. I always learn something from Sophie. She's fantastic. That's the Knit Pickle girl. And I got to meet loads of lovely people, like vendors and yarny people. So, and I did think at this one, at the one in February, there are regulars, there are people that you see there kind of every year and that you see at a lot of yarn shows, whereas at this one there are a lot of people who I'd never heard of before, a lot of small indie dyers that I'd never seen, and I found, like, I have bought from 3 people who I'd never heard of before, and now I'm really excited to use and share their yarn. So this one, the first set of yarn that I bought, that is for me to use for a sample, is by a company called Gullet Farm, and it is British wool. I was there with my friend Marina of Marina Skewer Podcast and Yarn and Designs. I will link her below. She's fantastic, one of my favourite yarny people in the world, and she has been using this yarn as part of her, she's doing a project where she's finding local yarn producers and making a design for them, and it's going to be one big collection, and it's really, really exciting. And this is one of the people she's working with, and just look at the beautiful natural woolly goodness. I am pretty sure this is all undyed. The labels are very basic. I've got no yardages, I've got no grams, I've just got the sheep breeds. So this one is Romney and Max Lowton, I'm not too sure. It's tricky. Sheep breeds are tricky, but it's like the creamy colour, and then I have a dark grey, which is Romney and Hebridean, and then I have a light grey, which is Romney and Hebridean, and then I have the beige, this beautiful beige, which is Romney and Manx Lowton. So these are the same blend, and these are the same blend. So when you think of this in terms of my kite shawl, it will probably go a little something like this. So you've got the greys opposite each other and the beiges opposite each other, but we've got dark and light, and then, well, kind of light and dark and light. But yeah, that's probably how it's going to go. And then in the mittens, it will probably be maybe these two on one mitten and these two on another mitten. But they all speak to each other, but they've got a high enough contrast, and I can just see myself wearing this. I've got a camel coloured winter coat, I've got a big black puffer jacket, and I just think it would work for both of those. And it's woolly and rustic, but I can I can happily have it against skin. And Marina assured me that this softens up beautifully with washing as well. So I think it's going to be perfect for some woolly winter accessories. I have got a lot of yarn winding to do. So much yarn winding to do. I might have to get my kids involved in that one because they love doing it. And fortunately, they're getting quite good at it now. They don't just go like super fast. So yes, Gullet Farm, it's gulletfarm.com. Their branding is beautiful. Look, it's just so wonderful. Am I going to say lovely and wonderful and gorgeous many times? Probably. So that was my kind of main purchase for myself, really, and something I'm really looking forward to. And then we have Mal prizes and another little bit that I got for myself for something that I'm not gonna tell you about, but I will show you. So the To Me From Me Mal. I totally forgot to mention that alongside the To Me From Me Mal is a discount code on all of my patterns, apart from the Stellar Expansion and the School Run set. You can get them individually, but not as a set. Yeah, you just need to use the code TMFMMAL on Ravelry or my website. That might not be right. I'll put it here and in the description box. But with that code, you can get 20% off all of my patterns apart from those 2 exemptions. So if you are interested in doing the mini version of the Maxine Hot Water Bottle cover, get it now before it's released, because then you'll get the update with the new thing in it and you'll get it at a slightly reduced price. And yeah, treat yourself to something for yourself, even if you don't want to take part in the mail and you just want to do a little something for yourself. So yeah, just thought I would pop in and let you know. Continue past Laura. All the details in the previous podcast if you want more details, but the premise is between now and December, so in the run up to the festive season, not just Christmas, there are so many lovely celebrations at this time of year. It's not Christmas specific. I've gone quite Christmassy because I love Christmas. I start thinking about Christmas in August, not even joking. But there are obviously so many wonderful celebrations at that time of year, and there's also a lot of pressure at that time of year to knit gifts. Now I know a lot of people love gift knitting. I really enjoy gift knitting when it's something I really want to do. Like, I've had a bad relationship with gift knitting in the past. I've learned more about myself since then, but I know a lot of people feel the pressure to do that. A lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people are like, no, I do not gift knit, I only knit for me. Those people can still take part in this mal. It doesn't matter if you gift knit or not. You can just, the whole point is to just, you know, put yourself first. Make that thing that you've wanted to make for a while, but you've thought of every excuse in the book not to do. Pick up that whip, as long as it's less than 50%, that's been languishing in the corner, that thing you're really excited about, but maybe you lost steam on. Get it finished, ready to wear in this beautiful, celebratory, festive, chilly season. And part of that, there are going to be 3 prize draws for this mal. One of which I have not yet confirmed the prize for. I'm trying to decide on what that is going to be, so I don't really know yet, but there are 2 main prizes. There is a hashtag on Instagram, which is the To Me From Me Mal, so TMFM Mal, and that's just for everything: whips, progress, yarn, whatever. Just if you post something on Instagram with the hashtag, you are entered into the prize draw. So it's like the whip prize draw, really. There's no pressure to finish anything. You still get a chance of winning a prize. Just use the hashtag on Instagram and you will be able to be in with the prize. These prizes will only be drawn from Instagram. I did try to find a way to make it not Instagram, but really it didn't really work for me, and I had to keep my admin to a minimum. And so yeah, there's not a giveaway here on YouTube for this. You have to be on Instagram, but that's just what I had to do to kind of make the mal work for myself. There will be a YouTube giveaway with Vlogmas, so there is something coming your way. But the second one will be the finished object hashtag. So that is TMFMMALFO, so the To Me From Me Mal finished objects. And there you post your finished object, and there will be a prize for that over on Instagram. And I'm also doing the same thing on my Patreon. So if you are a Patreon member, there is a separate group chat for you to post your finished objects in, and the the prize will be drawn from that group. So it's a much smaller group, it's a much higher chance of winning the prize, and it's just a little extra something in my Patreon. You obviously get your set things if you become one of my Patreons, but I try to give as much value for money as I can, and if I think of something extra that I can throw in there for my members, then I will do. That is applicable to both tiers. So there is the support tier and there's the higher up tier in which you get the videos, but both tiers get access to this mount and this prize draw. So those are the prizes that I got at Unravel for the finished object and for the Patreon draw, and they are both the same but from different people, and I'm finally going to show you. So first up we have ginger and pink, and I was instantly drawn to this stall when I saw it. It's all British wool, naturally dyed, just absolute yumminess. And the plan is that I wanted to give you everything that you would need to make a hot water bottle cover, basically, or whatever you want. You don't have to, and there's more than enough yarn here to make hot water bottle cover, depending on which configuration you did of the Maxine or of the autumn one, although these prizes will be given out at Christmas on the 1st of December. You should have enough yarn here to make yourself one of these things, or there's not enough to make a Stella quilt cushion. You would need more for your backing, but you could use a different yarn for your backing if you wanted to. So we have 100-gram skein of the 4-ply Blueface Leicester, 75% Blueface Leicester, 25% Masham, beautiful natural grey British 4-ply yarn, which you would hold double for your hot water bottle cover. And then we also have a set of minis. Look at this beautiful set of green, naturally dyed colours. I think they would just make the most beautiful Maxine hot water bottle cover in particular, but also like an autumnal one or a Christmassy one. And the idea behind these, I was speaking to the dyer and she said everything used to dye these are things that you would find on a walk in the British countryside. So I don't know exactly what I do know exactly what was used. Dyed with weld, dockleaf, comfrey, nettle and aldercone. How lovely. And I did think that if you wanted to use this for the Maxine, it might be a little low contrast. So I did also pick up another mini of hers in this lovely peachy pinky colour. So whoever wins this, I'll give you the option, and I thought I could maybe swap this one out for this one, just to give a little bit more contrast, just to give the little pop of colour, or you know, whichever you think would work best for your ideas. I'll either get this or I'll swap in the pink. Or maybe I'll just throw in the pink anyway. That's probably what I'll do. So there you go, that's what you get. That's option one. I don't know which will be which, if I'm honest. I'll decide closer to the time. The second prize is from Nellie and Eve. When I got to Unravel, I met up with my friend Rachel. She's here on YouTube as well. She makes gorgeous, stunning content, so please feel free to go and check her out. And she said, Laura, my friend Helen really wants to meet you. She's really excited. She watches your podcast. I have to take you over to meet her. So we went over to Nellie and Eve, and honestly, Helen was just the loveliest person in the world. She was infectiously happy and a pleasure to be around. And not only that, but she makes absolutely stunning yarn. So again, we've got British wool, we've got naturally plant dyed, and it's all locally sourced British wool, hand dyed on a mountain in Wales. The dream. I want to live on a mountain in Wales. I love Wales, it's so beautiful. So, first of all, I got this for myself, which is for a upcoming project, which I'm not going to talk about until I can actually show it to you, but I was looking for a very specific colour. I looked at every colourway all around Unravel and eventually landed upon this one, because it has a very specific use in mind, and it's just perfect. It's beautiful. This is the Dales 50/50, so it's 4-ply, 50% BFL, 50% Masham, and it's beautifully soft. It's lovely, and it's going to be perfect for what I've got in mind. And then for the prize winners, I got the last one of these, and again, this is different. This is a single farm BFM the single farm BFL 4-ply 100% blue face Leicester, sheep to skein in under 25 miles of my studio in West Wales. I just love it. I just love romanticising and imagining it, and colours inspired by the landscape and seasons of a Welsh mountain. Just love it. So this is the mini set to go alongside it, and again it's the same thing. It's the single farm BFL inspired by the landscape on a Welsh mountain, and this one is more spring vibes. If the last one was autumn winter, I think this is more spring summer, and you've got these beautiful bright colours but also these lovely natural colours to go in there too. I chose this one because it's really quite white, so there is contrast between these two. So if you were to make a Maxine, I'd probably use this as your contrast colour and make sure that these colours are the ones that are actually against the white. But you've got this beautiful pink and green and blue and the naturals, and they're just so gorgeous together. Oh, I'm quite jealous. I want to keep these. But there you go. That's the second prize that will be for the Mal. And of course, these prizes will also include the Maxine hot water bottle cover and the the pumpkin spice hot water bottle cover, and any other future hot water bottle covers that may or may not be available by then. There you go, that's your little secret nugget if you made it to this part of the video. So that's it, that's everything I've got to show you. My goodness, what a yarny day. So the last thing on the agenda is to go through my Instagram saves. So yes, let's do that right now, shall we? So I'm going to sit over here in the shady spot, and then I can put my screen record here. So the first thing in my saved is, there isn't like oh look at that recipe. There isn't mac and cheese recipes or like baking things. Oh, we only have two. We have two things to show this week. So the first is from Sonder Yarn Company. I've never used Sonder yarn, but I'd really like to one day. And the thing that really grabbed me was the sweater. There are two shawls there as well, which are lovely and go together so nicely. But it's this sweater. I thought it was so simple but effective. I really like what they've done here. It's a light fluffy yarn, it's a circular yoke, but just plain, and you don't often see that of a circular yoke as like a plain garment construction. It'll usually be a drop shoulder or a raglan, so it's really nice to see that circular yoke, because I do think when you get the fit right, they are beautiful. But it's got a folded twisted rib neck, which I never thought I would say that I like. But then it's also got the twisted rib hem with the cute little rolled edge and some very dainty little puffy sleeves. And when I saw this, I did think, oh, this is putting me in the mood to go ruffle-less on my red souffle. But then I thought, no, I had a very clear vision with the souffle. I'm going to stick with it, and then maybe one day I could make this in the future, because I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's not released yet. I don't even think there's a name. This was 5 days ago at day of recording. Should we see if there's been any more information since then on that? No, I don't think so. But yeah, is there like an update day or anything? No. So yeah, keep an eye out over at Sonder Yarn Company for that one. Just thought it was, I think the colour as well really attracted me. It was like autumny and light and floaty and just, yeah, my vibe at the moment. And then the second thing that has caught my eye since we last spoke is this bad boy. Oh my goodness, it's stunning. And actually, since I saved this picture, I've noticed there has been more progress, so I'm going to skip to the next picture. Oh, is it a little out of focus though? It's basically a drop shoulder all over colourwork jumper, and it is absolutely stunning. It is autumnal but fresh. It's got those golden browny colours but also a hint of blue in there, and it's just the most adorable colourwork pattern. It's like flower, I wouldn't even say flowers, it's more like plants in the soil that repeats so wonderfully, and it's 2x2 rib and the fit of it looks incredible. I just really hope that we are size inclusive here, because I could absolutely fully see myself making this for myself. It's one of those that made me think, damn, I wish I thought of that. It's just gorgeous. I really do think colourwork is having its moment at the moment. I think last year everyone was doing stripes, and I feel like this kind of modern colour work and traditional, just colour work in general is the thing at the moment, which I'm pleased about because I'm about to release a colour work sweater. So I just think it's absolutely gorgeous, and this is from a designer called Trin Annalie, and yeah, they've got some beautiful stuff, really lovely. Am I following? Well, I'm not even following. Right, follow. There we go. That was bad of me. So there you go. Those are my saves at the moment. And yeah, I think that's probably time to round it up because it's going to be a long one. So thank you so much for joining me. What is coming up from me next? I think I've already told you. We've got a week of knitting. We've got plenty going over on at Patreon at the moment. There will be vlogs in October. There'll be the autumn vlogs. I'm hoping for those to be kind of the first week of October-ish, so that there's a big enough gap between then and Vlogmas. So if you enjoy the vlogs but don't want to be part of the Patreon, then they're coming to you very, very soon. But yeah, there'll be what I knit in the knitting a week in a sweater video, and then hopefully maybe even another podcast in 2 to 3 weeks time. I'm feeling so connected with my work at the moment. I feel like I might have mentioned this, but I just get so motivated this time of year, and I think because I'm in such a strong place mentally now, I've really found my rhythm with work. It's the top of my list of things I want to do. It's what I want to spend my time doing. Like I get the house tidy and the kids to school and all the life admin jobs done as quickly as possible so that I can then sit down with my computer and write and create and design and knit and make content for you guys and Patreon and Instagram. And I'm just, yeah, I'm full of the joys of creation at the moment, and it happens at this time every year, and it's going to be full throttle right up until December, and then I'll get to January where I won't want to talk to anyone for a month. But that's fine. That's fine. That's just the way I work, and now I've learned that about myself. That's great. Like, I don't have to be in this super productive, motivated, creative phase all the time. If I was, I'd probably burn out. And actually, that is exactly what happened. I tried to keep myself in this phase and I burnt out and stopped designing altogether. So this was the year of balance for me, and I have most definitely found that balance, and it feels natural and part of me and not forced anymore. So yeah, you can expect a lot more from me. In my personal life, I've got my half marathon coming up very, 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 very soon. It's been a tumultuous training block. I've overtrained, I've had injury, I lost momentum, regained momentum. I've had another foot injury, but I had physio yesterday, day before. Had some physio for it, and I'm really, really hopeful that I'm going to get the marathon done. So make sure you're over on my Instagram encouraging me along on the 29th of September. I'm really nervous but really excited. I like doing hard things. I like pushing myself as long as it's within my own kind of safety zone. I don't like calling people up on the phone to discuss things like car servicing and tax, but I'd love to run 13 miles without stopping. Ridiculous. So yeah, that's where we are. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and yeah, let me know in the comments below if you're joining in on the Mal, what you're looking forward to this autumn, what you've been inspired by recently. Let's just have a little chat, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Don't know why I did a salute. See you next time.